Finally, part 1 of episode 72 came out, and I'm literally shocked by these events. And Boom didn't even mention that episode 72 would be so epic. He said that episodes 73 and 74 would be crazy, and it's hard for me to even imagine what will happen there, since it looks like in part 2 of episode 72 an epic battle awaits us. But in any case, there were a lot of details in this episode since we saw GMAN's new abilities, and now we also know for sure that this Astro Toilet is hunting for GMAN, and also many of my theories were confirmed. And in this video, you will find out, will cameraman scientists survive? Where is this container being transported? Who is stronger, Astro Toilet or GMAN? And what awaits us in the next episode? Hello friends, you're on the Dattebayo channel. Subscribe to the channel and press the like button under the video to speed up the release of the next video. And let's go. At the beginning of the episode, we again see the death of poor Plunderman. But this time, he was watched by his friend cameraman scientist from episode 54. And already on the tablet, we can notice that the number of this cameraman is 1337, and he was very angry that his friend died. But now he on the battlefield and he must continue to fight. And we see the same location not far from the bunker that we saw on the leaks. And we also found out that it was SKIBIDI SWAT who was hiding behind the building all the time. And it looks like he was waiting for exactly this cameraman, since he easily destroys other toilets, and he fires 2 powerful missiles at the scientist, but they hit the car that was in front of the scientist. And it is important to note that the scientist now has new guns like Large Cameraman had in episode 70. But the SKIBIDI SWAT was able to evade his lasers, and at that time other SKIBIDI hybrids began their attack. And it seems that the scientist was able to create a lot of such hybrids before his death, but I wonder why he didn't show them to us earlier. And I think if they had also participated in battles against agents, then the agents would have suffered a lot of losses because only special agents can kill such hybrids, and we know that there are very few special agents left. But one of the hybrids managed to get close to the scientist, and he was able to damage the scientist's tablet. But with the help of the built-in sword, Cameraman was able to pierce his head. But I'm just shocked that this mutant survived even after this, and Cameraman had to finish him off with lasers. But the battle had just begun, and many SKIBIDI toilets surrounded our cameraman, and finally, the leader of these hybrids went into close combat. And pay your attention to his sickle. And it was this sickle that Death had from the cartoon Puss in Boots 2. And this is a cool reference because if you look at how this toilet kills agents, it literally brings death. And this madman began to literally cut the robot's armor into pieces. And even on the tablet we saw some kind of inscription, but it's very difficult to understand what is written there. But it looks like this is an emergency message that the suit has received too much damage. And Blood wanted to deal the final blow, but he was stopped by the improved spider camera. And yes guys, this is the same spider from the early episodes. Only now this spider is much stronger and cooler and can fly. And Mr. Boom also noted earlier that we will see many new and also old characters. And here is one of them. And look at the quality of these projectiles, as if we're watching anime. And I can't imagine how Boom could make such crazy quality in such an old program as Source Filmmaker. And the spider camera literally doesn't give this mutant a chance, and the mutant tried to escape but was seriously injured. But at that time, another SKIBIDI toilet appeared, and this is another reference to the character from the game General Shepard from Call of Duty Modern Warface. And I really like the fact that Boom adds such references, and sometimes I even want to replay games like Call of Duty again. And with the help of many missiles, the general was able to seriously injure the camera spider. But this spider gathered all his energy for the final attack and crushed this general into powder. And after that, the cameraman showed thumbs up and headed towards the leader of the hybrids. And several SKIBIDI helicopters tried to kill him, but the camera spider covered him. And in this frame, we can see in detail this is the sickle that the wolf from the cartoon had. And with the help of it, Cameraman decided to kill this mutant. But he did not give up until the end and showed his charisma. And by the way, we can see that his toilet is blue, and we have never seen toilets like this before. And all SKIBIDI hybrids in this episode had toilets like this, which means that this is a special unit who guarded the most important things of SKIBIDI toilets. But before the life of this mutant was to end, there was a big explosion and the mutant began to smile, as Uncle Gmail Titan arrived and began to destroy absolutely everything in its path. And the scientist's iron suit was also destroyed, that he jumped out of it. And look closely at G-Man's face. It doesn't matter to him at all that they are trying to attack him. And finally we see his new ability, namely an energy shield. And I have no words for how epic it looks, and this is exactly the shield that was in Cameraman in episode 65. And it looks like all this time the SKIBIDI toilets were watching the Titans, and then passed on information about the shield to the scientist so that he could copy it. But still, in order to copy such technology, the scientist needed a sample of this shield, and he could only get it from a traitor who is hiding in the army of agents. We have already seen many times that SKIBIDI toilets have agent technology, and I assure you that there is definitely a traitor. But so far we don't have any clues about who it could be, but write your theories in the comments. And after G-Man turned on his shield, He destroyed the spider camera with the help of his powerful lasers. And at this time, the scientist's suit began to sparkle, and we see some kind of message, but as I said earlier, it is very difficult to see what is written there. But if you have any ideas, let me know. And it's also a funny fact that this cameraman can walk, although I thought that he had no legs. But this can be explained by the fact that Plunger Man was also torn into pieces. And we also thought that he couldn't walk. But in episode 63, we saw that he has legs, and this cameraman also made legs for himself and was able to escape from the explosion of the suit. But now the most interesting thing begins. Since we see all the toilets that were in episode 71 and that they are again transporting this container, or rather now there are 2 containers. And pay attention to this skibidi toilet, because it seems to me that this is the same scientist from episode 68. Also on the left is the same skibidi agent from episode 71, and also the DJ toilet along with them. And we also heard the sound of Michael Jackson, although I did not notice it in the air. And since we don't see Michael Jackson in the air, perhaps he will stay with GMAN and fight against the Astro General. But perhaps I just didn't notice him. But one of the engineers started a dialogue with GMAN, and it seemed like he was asking what they should do next. And GMAN replied that they would act according to plan, since GMAN always has a plan. But suddenly an Astro General appeared who caught and destroyed the engineer. And everyone probably noticed that he had become very huge. But in fact, I think that Boom originally wanted to do him so huge, but he turned out to be small, and already in this episode, the Boom corrected this, because otherwise we cannot explain why he is so huge. And the Astro General said, "You know the penalty for treason, Commander." And these are very important words, because now we found out that the commander was not the scientist, but G-Man, and also that he somehow betrayed the Astro Toilet. And I told you that this Astro Toilet was hunting for him, because in episode 71 it was clear that Astro General was shocked that everything was destroyed. And it seems that everything is connected with this cargo that is in the container. And in this contract there were precisely the terms of this deal, that the Skibidi scientists should give this project to Astro Toilets, and Astro Toilets have to give something in return. And it looks like G-Man got something from them, but he didn't want to fulfill his part of the deal. And then the general said, "No one escapes justice." But G-Man began to charge all his lasers, and if you look closely, he started smiling because he is confident that he can defeat the general. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a masterpiece. And I waited a very long time for this fight. But now let me answer a few questions. First of all, where did the toilet with the cargo fly? They definitely flew to their second base, since I'm sure that they have a second base that no one knows about. But what are the chances that G-Man can defeat this Astro Toilet? Personally, I think that G-Man can defeat him, and quite easily, because look at his face, he is very confident in his abilities. And as Boom earlier said himself, that strength is not important, and the one who correctly uses his abilities will win. And I also think that G-Man will not be alone and someone will help him. Or this fight will only last a few seconds, and after that, the Astro Toilet will run away, saying that we will find you. Or G-Man will run away. But most likely, I think that G-Man will destroy this weakling, because Boom said that the craziest the events will only start from episode 73. And he also told me that this Astro Toilet is not the strongest of them. And since part 2 of episode 72 will be released before episode 73, there shouldn't be any crazy events there. So maybe we'll say goodbye to the Astro General, because he definitely does not underestimate the strength of G-Man. But as always, I will make another video where we will look at the outcome of this battle in absolutely detail, and also all the events of the next episode. And you know that lately I have been predicting a lot of events, so I am sure that in the new video I will be able to surprise you. So be sure to subscribe to my channel so as not to miss this video, and also press like button if you enjoyed watching. And you were on the Dattebayo channel, and see you.